I was from Russia. My mother is from America. We celebrated the 4th of July. Everything about it to me means freedom. I love living in the United States. It's been a wonderful experience for us as a family.
I definitely appreciate the freedoms that we have here in the U.S. Freedom like to walk around and look at a theater. You know, one of the things we have. That's what we're doing right now. But at the same time, just because we have a lot of freedoms, it can't overshadow a lot of things that's done in the name of one nation over another nation, or one people over another people.
Welcome back to Good Day Street Talk. We're discussing what the 4th of July means today, and my guests are Heather MacDonald with the Manhattan Institute, Dennis Walcott with the Urban League, Lorraine Cortez with the Hispanic Federation, and Michael Meyers with the New York Civil Rights Coalition. Folks, I have been on the streets a long time as a reporter, as an activist. We are not in Sierra Leone. You find the Africans who come here are overjoyed to be here. People from Yemen are overjoyed to be here. We have Soviet Jewry that are overjoyed to be here. We have the Scotch-Irish, the Irish kids from Derry who have been in battles for God knows how long, who are glad to be here. What happened to our youth? What happened in that we have kind of let the words of the Declaration of Independence lie fallow?
I would say one thing that's happened is we've become a nation obsessed with separate identity groups. Your Mrs. Shapiro would not be turned out of would not be created by a teacher education school today, because young teachers are told that in fact blacks do have to be taught differently, Hispanics do have to be taught differently, because we have to preserve their separate identities, and it would be racist to expect all kids to achieve the same level of literacy. I've attended many classes in teacher education schools, and this is the dogma. So we have betrayed the original ideals of this country, which is one standard for all, in favor of many different standards for people in order to preserve
this show has been
this
very
notion of
calm up to
identity.
this point, but I think that
No,
I totally disagree with Heather as far as I have 4 children who went through the New York City public school system, and there are a lot of Mrs. Shapiros out there who are young, who are of different backgrounds now, who believe in treating children equally. And they're out there reaching out, doing what you had done to you. Mrs. Long was my teacher who did that for me, who saw me reading below grade level and then took the time on her own.
You?
Dennis.
Dennis, I'm sorry.
If I had Derek's money, then definitely then
folks, I want to say now, Derek Walcott is a playwright. He's a playwright, and I've done this to him, I don't know how many times, and he's been very kind to me. His name is Dennis Walcott.
That's right. As long as they call him Dennis and me Derek, I don't have
and you can get his
money.
checks.
Right. But at the same time, though, I think there are major issues with teaching today, and large class sizes, as Michael said, and other issues. But I think there are a lot of Mrs. Shapiros out there who will call at home.
The exception.
I don't know about that. I have trouble generalizing and stereotyping. I think it's unfortunate for us to do that around teachers. I think there are a lot of issues with teachers. I think those teachers who are like Mrs. Shapiro's may not be in a lot of the low-performing districts, and as a result of seniority, they opt out to other districts.
Now, if you're a good teacher, if you're a senior teacher, you're shipped out.
I don't think we've forgotten
And identity politics is not bad. I had the fortune of being the executive director of ASPIDA for 4.5 years.
I remember.
Right, and it was a glory days, and I had a great time. And we taught responsibility, leadership, identity, and there is nothing wrong, and there was nothing lost.
Identity with what?
But it doesn't
identity of Latino, and proud of who you are, and also proud.
Identity with what?
And it was
also
a
voluntary organization or state imposed?
It's voluntary.
It's
voluntary.
a different matter. That's a different
and then
matter.
we're also strong advocates for bilingual education. So I would venture to say
that's been a disaster for kids.
I don't know that it's been a disaster.
Well, no, one of the things that we have forgotten.
Well, hold on. Let's deal with this. On the one hand, hold on, Michael. Let's just deal with bilingual. On the one hand, Herman Badillo and the people who did this wanted a short transition.
Michael and I have gone through this when I was
It's turned into an institution, and one questions whether that institution has been advantageous to those kids who seem to speak Spanish from the day they're born to the day they die. The question is whether the bilingual education has lasted too long. That is, whether the programs go from 0. It was supposed to be a year, wasn't it?
No, it was supposed
2
to be
years.
up to 3 years.
Up to 3 years.
It was up to 3 years.
It never is temporary.
Hold on, let her finish. Michael, let her finish.
I was very respectful to you. I would venture to say that bilingual education, if Latino students were succeeding in general education in record numbers, then I would have absolutely, I would be the first one to take a position against bilingual education. We are failing in the same at the same rate in bilingual education as we are in general education. So it is not an indication. It is not an indication that bilingual education, the system itself, failed. I would say that the educational system as a whole for Latinos has failed. The other thing that I would also say...
For the question, Michael, what about the educational system?
I want to talk about bilingual education and the educational system and the Declaration of Independence. Because it's very clear to me that, you know, look, I'm not against, you know, bilingualism in the sense that if you come from a Spanish-speaking home and that's where you speak, that's the language you speak, fine. Speak it at home. Speak it with your friends and your relatives. But when you come to school, when you're a very young age, you should not be tracked into a Spanish-speaking class. You should get English. You should get immersed in English because English is the language of this nation. It's the language of commerce. It's the language of international commerce. And unless you learn how to speak, just a second, unless you learn how to speak English as a quote-unquote immigrant or even as a native-born Puerto Rican, unless you learn how to speak English, you're not going to be able to integrate, to assimilate with the American culture. And the beauty of our American system, our American nation is e pluribus unum, from many into one. We have to identify with the American spirit, and we have to get along with each other. And I think more Americans, particularly native-born Americans who speak English, they should be getting fluent in foreign languages. So we should be speaking all kinds of languages. But it is a trap, I suggest to you, to bring the Russians here and try to teach them in our public schools in Russian, to bring the Chinese here and try to teach them in our public schools in Chinese, or to bring the Spanish here and how to teach them in our public schools in Spanish. That's wrong. Let's immerse them in English. And guess what? We know from the fact that young children do learn well English and know better how to interact with their peers if they learn how to speak English.
Michael, there's a middle road there that I think we want to go down. No, I agree with no more balkanization. And that's what however, there are downsides to this Americanism that you talk about, which we want to get back to when we come back. We'll have more on Street Talk. Don't go away.
Our heroes proved in liberating strife.
It's nice to be in a country where we have freedoms, but the freedoms that we have right now we're really still not free of anything. And so we struggle with trying to even figure out what independence means.
It's a very proud holiday. You should be proud to be an American. Anyone should be proud to serve their country in the United States military. And right now the military is hurting. Let's get as many people in there as we can.
Welcome back to Good Day Street Talk. We're discussing what Independence Day means today. And we have, of course, Michael Meyers and Dennis Walcott and Heather MacDonald and Lorraine Cortez. Let's look at something. In the 60s, we let the American flag become the symbol of the right wing. We let education and crime and family issues that are integral to the fabric of the American spirit, we let them go. And we let the hard hats talk about family. We let the hard hats talk about the American dream. We let the hard hats hold that flag. We were not inclusive in those days. Our thing was, wait a minute, wait a minute, Michael, yes, it was a wonderful time.
Very inclusive.
And I was very much an activist, but we were into black liberation, Puerto Rican independence.
Oh, identity,
identity made a big difference.
Well, so that was you, not me.
No, of course not, Michael, it wasn't you.
I was always integration.
Yes, I know. Of the Declaration of Independence while keeping our cultural identity and not developing what I call the mediocre man, the marshmallow men and women, who I'm not anything, I don't know what I am. As they treat, I go, I'm an American, they don't, and the person is blue or black or brown, as, you know, you wonder what's happening.
But why mock that? To me, that's as valid an ideal as excessive ethnic identity. That's a perfectly valid thing for this country.
Being vapid?
That's not, but why do you call that vapid?
Because,
to be able to say, I'm an American, that's the greatest ideal in this
fact,
country.
you're absolutely right. That's what the Chinese told us when we went there. However, when you look at...
not vapid.
No, he's not vapid at all. However, look at what happens. When I look at Italian Americans, or I look at Jewish Americans, or Irish Americans, they're able to say they're Irish and American with no problem. Why do you want people of color to be vapid? Why can't I just say I'm a black American?
I simply don't want the government to be subsidizing this. If people want to celebrate their own identity.
People want to go to a race-neutral society and at the same time put their feet on the backs of people who are poor and of color. And I think we have to have both. We have to have both in that. I am proud to be an American, and I'm proud to be black. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, and buts about both of them, and you can have both. I mean, I look at Italians and
Skin color is nothing to be proud about.
The people that are...
Wait a minute. Michael,
skin color is nothing to be proud
if
about.
Skin color was the reason, was a badge...
Is there a question to me?
Yes, Michael.
Yeah, there's a question to Michael.
If race color, if skin color and melanin over the centuries was a reason to be scourged, beaten, and enslaved, it seems to me that the antidote to that is to be proud of your blackness, not to be ashamed of it.
No.
If you are a highly evolved being and have gotten to the point where you don't have color, God bless you, but most of us are still living in this earth.
The psychologist said, pride, like humility, if you insist you have it, is destroyed. No, I'm not proud to be black. I mean, why should I want to be proud to be black or be proud to be white, be proud to be yellow, be proud to be brown? It doesn't make any sense. Skin color is not a basis by which to be proud. Skin color is just like eye color or hair color. It's just a color. Why do you make something of it that is not?
Because we're not in an ideal world.
You are perpetuating superstition and myth and stereotype when you do that.
Because in this country, something has always made something of it. Language has always been made, color has always been made, and we have always made it. And I can just tell you that as Latinos, we're very proud to be American. We embrace the American.
You speak for all Latinos, I take it.
She speaks for me too.
And I can just tell you that given our presence in the military, given the number of Purple Hearts that we have,
the Latinos I speak for want to be Americans. The Latinos I speak for are not Americans.
I don't think we're disputing.
They don't want bilingualism.
I don't think we're disputing, Michael.
Michael, don't embarrass yourself. Don't embarrass yourself. You're embarrassing yourself. All right, Heather, do we have anything else? Yeah, we have 20 seconds. All right. That's all for Good Day Street Talk. Join us for Good Day New York tomorrow morning. This has been a wonderful show. We do love this country. Now the question is building the institutions and implementing the Declaration of Independence. Take care.
I'm the new president.
In liberating strife.